Every club.
Every day.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Daily Newcastle podcast. It's strange. There's no introductions. I cannot believe the team are letting me go solo, which is absolutely mental when you think about it, because the one person on this team, if you've been listening regularly, who shouldn't be allowed to go solo, is actually going solo. But yeah, I did think when I realised I was doing this pod on my own, what on earth am I going to talk about? So I think what's very important is just, it sounds stupid on a Daily Newcastle podcast, but we're going to talk about Newcastle, and we're going to talk about them in general, but mainly around identity, because there's a lot of talk in a minute about stadiums and badges and all these things. So I really just want to have, it's kind of like a therapy session, really. I don't know who's listening. I don't know who's going to comment. I don't know who cares, right? But I certainly do, because it's Newcastle and I love this club. I love this club more than probably most people. I'm going to argue with people about that. But yeah, we'll see. So talking about identity and what makes Newcastle, I think Newcastle's identity is, you've got to look at the past, and I'm not going to give you a massive lesson on Newcastle, or I'm not going to give you a huge lesson on where we've come from and how it all started. It's just a case of, we're quite an iconic club, and we're not iconic for winning, other than this season. We finally won a cup. I don't know if anybody knows. You would never have guessed by the trophy celebrations. But we just have so many iconic moments. We have the 4-3 losses. We have bottom of the league. Okay, I'm probably regretting going down this route now, because a lot of it is failure. We have the famous Mike Ashley years where we had a Streets Will Never Forget team under Alan Pardew, with the likes of Papi Cissé and Ben Arthur and Cabaye and Demba Ba and Jonas Gutierrez, Colaccini. And there's loads of stuff in between them years. There's loads of stuff before them years. And obviously the last 3 years have just been magical. So I think, rather than give you a full lesson, I think we've got to look at the last 3 years, because I think this is why the changes are now getting spoken about in terms of the badge in the stadium and Newcastle United's identity. So let's look at it then. The last 3 years have been an absolute unbelievable time to be a Newcastle fan. We are on the verge, hopefully. I know the team will be on this and we'll be covering the Everton game coming up, but we are hopefully on the verge of qualifying for the Champions League for the second time in 3 seasons, which over 3 years ago, that was unthinkable, regardless of who came in as the new owners and all this stuff, and then the rules which got created to stop us. But yeah, the second Champions League qualification in 3 years. We've won a cup, first domestic trophy in 70 years. And the scenes from that were absolutely insane. We have a team who get the city and they get the club, they get the fans, they play how we want to see Newcastle play, with high intensity, passion, energy. Get into them, as the famous flag says. We've got so many things right now to be proud of as Newcastle United fans, and it's all down to really the new owners. It's down to a massive part of Amanda Staveley and her husband, who came in as well. But I think most of it's down to Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall and his coaching team, because without them, I genuinely believe this wouldn't have happened, no matter what the backing. Because that guy, them guys, them gals, everybody involved in his team are just absolute geniuses. So with that success is what again, it's a long intro, I apologise, but it's just me. So, with all that success coming with a trophy in the Champions League, our identity's been brought into question. There's been talk of a new stadium, which, for the record, I think anybody who's listened to a previous episode will know I am strongly against. I do not want to move stadium. I think St James's Park is so special. I think it won us the game against Chelsea because it turned it into a battle. It turned it into a fight when Jackson got sent off. That sheer raw emotion and atmosphere affected Chelsea. It affected PSG. It's affected Villa in the past. It's affected the semi-final against Arsenal. At home, we got a disallowed goal early, and honestly, I've never heard a noise like it. So I genuinely believe our stadium and our atmosphere and where we're at and that whole place is just magical, and it's special. I never want a new stadium. But we don't really know too much about the stadium. We don't know if it's going to be built up. We have no idea if we're going to build a new one. Lots of rumours out there, but nothing's been confirmed by the club. What has been confirmed by the club is a new badge, but I'll kind of rephrase new. They're going to revisit the badge. And this weirdly, when it was announced, brought out a horrendous reaction in me, really. I didn't realise I liked our badge so much, and I didn't realise that I would be that passionate about it. But the news broke that we were going to the update or change, or the current badge was holding us back, was the words, and I got really defensive. I was like, what on earth is the club talking about? Are we finally selling our soul? Are we finally selling out now to just have a circle badge and become just another team? Which that's not what Newcastle is. It never will be, I don't think. But yeah, that news came out about the badge, and I had a strong reaction, which I didn't expect. I think if somebody said, without the club officially saying it, by the way, if somebody said Newcastle will change the badge, I think I would have reacted, nah, okay, we've had 4. It's all right. Don't worry about it. It's fine. When the club announced it, my reaction was not that at all. It was talking about the intricacies and the inconsistencies of the badge, and I was like, what a whole load of rubbish. This is my club. This is my badge. I grew up with this badge. This is Newcastle United. How can you take this away from us? And despite the strong reactions I had at first, I was invited along to the club to be part of the club badge workshop and actually have a chat with a couple of people and other supporters. And if I'm being honest, I'm not going to cover too much into this because I know loads of people have watched other YouTube channels and listened to podcasts where this has been mentioned, and I've got no real new information to give to it. But what I was impressed with was the sheer work they are doing to include the fans, and that surprises me when I say that, because I thought when we first released the statement of the fans will be involved, I thought, yeah, of course we are, whatever. But that's not the case at all, actually. We genuinely did listen. A lot of the opinions I shared was how rare our badge is, and I don't want a circle badge. And the club have said, as you'll know if you've watched other channels, the club have said it won't be a circle. It's not what Newcastle's about. They want to keep the shape of the badge now because it is very recognisable and it's very iconic. But it was when we highlighted the mistakes on the badge. The seahorses don't really have consistent feet. They have different feet on both sides of the shield in the middle. The lion or monkey or whatever the hell it is, because no one actually knows what it is, doesn't have a face and it's just all blurred out. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And even around the badge, the rope along the club crest is it's not symmetrical and it just doesn't really work, unfortunately. So when we explained that and I got to listen to their thoughts on changing the badge, I started to get a little bit excited because it's not going to be a brand new badge. It's going to be something which hopefully is just refined, and it's very nice to look at, and it's easy on the eye because we love our badge. But you know, in that bigger market now, in the upper echelons of football, Champions League qualification, winning trophies, maybe even challenging for a Premier League next season, the club want, you know, something nice to look at for other supporters too, and other clubs who hopefully eventually want to be like us. So I'm very assured that we're not going to be like a PSG badge or you know, any other badge, Man City badge when they've changed. That reassured us. But what I really want to talk about after a very quick advert is what I actually think our identity is and what our badge should represent. And if we are going to move stadium, what should happen with it? So I'm going to touch on that in the second part of this. It's going to be a short one because you don't want to hear me drone on for ages. But yeah, we're going to take a quick break. I've explained very briefly about the last 3 years in moving forward, the new stadium, the new badge, and kind of what the club have said. And after this advert, I'm going to cover what I think it means to be a Geordie and what our identity should be.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Lovely stuff. Strange when there's nobody else to talk to. Anyway, like I say, the last 3 years have been a dream. The club are now moving forward. We're starting to think of the identity of the club, and a new stadium and badge is going to be part of that. Right. our identity as a Newcastle fan. What really, like I said in my last part, what really provoked a reaction in me was the badge, surprisingly. The stadium, I definitely want to stay, but nothing's been announced, so there hasn't been any real massive raw emotion, but the badge was announced and that did. And it got me thinking, what is it to be Newcastle then? What is it to be a Geordie? What is it to support this club? And I think what I thought was it's been different because there's no other club like us. Let's be honest about it. There's no other club who has a badge that looks like ours. There's no other club which has seahorses in. I'm going to come to that in a minute. And there's no other club who has a stadium like ours. Two sides built up. The East Stand just kind of, I think, one of the original versions of the East Stand. The Gallagher being so famous. We have a slope on our pitch still. It's 2025 and we have a slope. If we do ever build a new stadium, we better include a slope. Imagine building this £2 billion stadium. What we're going to do now, lads, we're going to put in a slope. I hope we do that if we do build a new stadium, but they probably won't. We play in black and white stripes. In England, that's so rare. There's not many clubs. I think 2 or 3 clubs play in black and white stripes in the Football League. And we are one of them. And it's iconic. And it's something, again, which is very special to us. And our identity's never been about winning trophies or being the biggest club. Our identity is being different. It is the badge. It is the stadium. It is the kit colours. And I mean, God, supporting Newcastle's like nothing else, is it? I just don't think other teams understand it. I remember when I think I've told the story before, so I'll try and tell it very quickly. When I lived down in Hertfordshire, I was around loads of Spurs fans, Arsenal fans, West Ham fans, loads of just different London clubs. And we were in the Championship at the time when I was working down there. And I kept my season ticket. I used to travel back up midweek and weekends to watch Newcastle at home. And I remember travelling up on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night to watch Burton Albion at home. And the other, like the Spurs, Arsenal, West Ham fans just didn't get it. They were like, what, you're travelling like, 6 hours, 7, 8 hours round trip just to watch Burton Albion at home? You know you're going to win. We did win 1-0. Actually, funnily enough, a Matt Ritchie penalty got given as a goal kick after scoring it. But go back and watch that. Again, when else does that happen? What it means to be a Geordie. And they just couldn't get their head around it. They barely travel 20 mile just to go watch their team. They just can't be bothered. They'll watch it on TV. But it's different for us. It's the Cathedral on the Hill. It's the City Centre Stadium, another rarity. Where else does that happen? A city centre stadium. Within something like a 2 mile radius, we have over 100 pubs. And I think the next one closest to that is 30 in the Premier League. Again, it is so rare. No away fan pubs or specialised away fan pubs because you can drink with the Newcastle fans, or you can just all go to the first one you see when you get off at Central, which is what most away fans do. Very frustrating. So again, there's so many rarities in supporting us. For Keegan head tilt over the sponsor boards, the Bobby Robson quote about clambering the steps, which every club now looks at as an amazing thing. Just the entertainer side, having rogues like Aspria and Ginola and just Kevin Keegan himself again. We are such a rare club, and our identity is about being rare, which is why I'm so happy that the badge is going to stay rare. We've been assured in these workshops for fans, which the club are trying to include us, I guess. Are telling us we're not going to go to a circle badge. We're going to try and keep the shape of how it looks now. We're going to try and refine it and just make it a little bit better. Which reassures us because that's our identity, and that's Newcastle United, and that's what it means to be a Geordie. Everything about us is different. The stadium, everything. Speaking of the stadium, please don't build a new one. But if you're going to build a new one, make it rare. Don't build a toilet bowl like Spurs. Don't build a circle like Arsenal. Slightly more symmetrical than Spurs, I guess. Build something we've never seen before. Build St James's Park again, but all the way around. That would keep me happy if it's a new stadium. But if you don't want to do that, because some people might think it's looking a little bit dated, then build something like a spaceship, which we've never seen. Build something which isn't even seen in American stadiums. I don't care how you do it. It's got to be rare because everything about this club is rare. It is the intricacies which they attacked in the original post about the badge. That's what it is to be a Geordie. And that had me thinking, the club just don't get us. What are we doing? The intricacies is what makes us. The differences is what makes us. But after that workshop, after listening to these people who were making these decisions and being involved in the process, it really does have me trusting the club again. I think there was an element. I'm not even going to mention the previous owner's years. I'm not going to mention his name. But there was a period where we knew that the club didn't care, and I genuinely believe now after that workshop we do care, and they are bothered about what we think, and they are bothered about how we move forward, maintaining our identity of being a Geordie, which in my opinion, and you can let me know if I'm wrong, is about just being different. Everything about us is different. The passion, everything. So we are going to keep the shape of a badge. The stadium is to be decided, but for me, I would like to stay, build up the Gallagher, keep the slope, keep everything about that place. We finally brought a trophy home to it. We don't want to move out yet, do we? But yeah, if we are going to build a new stadium, it has to be rare. If it is going to be a new badge or a refined badge, it has to look different to everything else. And that's what I believe our identity is. It's not about trophies. It never has been. We've got people listen to this, and me personally, who, other than that League Cup win, have never seen people win a trophy. Sorry, I've never seen Newcastle win a trophy. So, look, it's massive, and I think we shouldn't just chase glory, and we shouldn't just chase success. It's not what our identity is. We all love to win the Premier League every year, but I would rather win the Premier League once every 5 years and keep our soul than, win it every year and just have a completely different badge, a completely different feel of a stadium which just looks like every other modern stadium. And that won't be the club I recognise, and that scares me a little bit. But I guess all change is scary, and I guess that's what's so big about the future. But I think my mindset, thanks to the club and thanks to that workshop, really, has changed from being scared. I still am scared, but there's also a little bit of excitement in now. I'm actually excited to see the new badge. These people are very clever who run these workshops. Have manipulated my mind to think, let's get them excited. And I am excited to see the new badge. If we announce a new stadium, I have no idea how I'll react. I don't know what kind of emotion that'll emote out of us. But again, look at the emotion which pours out of this club. It's different. Everything about this club is different. Everything about being a Geordie is different. And I'm going to keep saying it over and over again because nobody else gets it. They said we over celebrated the League Cup. They said that we were going over the top and all this rubbish, but we didn't. They just don't understand what it means to us. This is our religion. This is our cathedral on the hill. So yeah, let's hope that Cathedral on the Hill, personally for me, stays and maybe just gets built up and modernised slightly. But yeah, I don't want a new stadium. But I guess even at this point, with my mindset being I'm excited for the new badge, and I trust the people at the club at the minute who are making these decisions. I guess if they were to announce a new stadium and they were to honour St James's Park in the right way and honour what it means to be a Geordie in the right way and do something very unique with that new stadium, and that would also turn to excitement as well. What a time to be a Newcastle fan. I've just talked for around about 17, 18 minutes about the last Newcastle's identity and where we're at. And I mean, 3 years ago, I'd be saying something very different. There would be no thoughts of ever leaving St James's, and there'd be no thoughts of a new badge 3 years ago. So the fact that the success is here is brilliant. It's very exciting. I think if we are going to build a new stadium, it should be called the Eddie Howe Stadium. And if we are going to have a new badge, it should just be the crest. Take the seahorses out as much as I think they are important. I know some people don't. And just put Eddie Howe on one side and Jason Tyndall on the other side and have that as the new badge. I'd be on board with that. Legends. What it means to be a Geordie. Anyway, I don't want to go on too long because A, you don't want to hear me speak this long. B, I don't want to listen to myself speak this long. But let me know in the comments, what do you think it means to be a Geordie? What are your thoughts on the club kind of having a new brand and moving forward to join the elite? And since we are going to be a slightly new brand and we're trying to join the elite, what does it mean to be a Geordie? What's very important not to get rid of or lose? And how do we not sell our soul? I've explained over the last little bit of time how I think we do that. We keep everything about us unique. The stadium, the badge, the atmosphere, what it means to us. All of that has to stay, in my opinion. But let me know what you think. And again, if this is going forward, or if it is a move forward, some people think it's a move backwards, which I really don't think it is. How is it going to affect us? Because let's face it, having a new badge isn't going to make the players play any better or attract new players. But it is going to affect how we perform in the digital age and revenue and how much of a big brand we become. But I think, again, just to finish it, Newcastle's identity isn't about being a brand. It's just about being different. Thank you very much again for giving me 20 minutes of your morning or your evening or your afternoon. Thank you very much. Tune in tomorrow for another team pod.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.